apparently they never did raise the parking rate, so they could have stayed there in the end. Oh, hi, Bobby here, and today we're going to look at a classic solo from Free's Paul Kossoff, the late great Paul Kossoff, and this is the studio version or the single version of All Right Now. This will be the version that you hear on the radio the most. And it's an interesting one because it's a really good study in phrasing, in kind of minimalist playing, mixing major and minor pentatonics, vibrato, sustain. Just a really, really good one to get under your fingers. There are lots of really cool kind of reusable and transferable licks that you can incorporate into your own playing. Now, I'm going to assume that you're really familiar with this solo. You've heard this solo hundreds of times. Otherwise, me breaking it down note for note isn't going to make sense out of context. So we're going to break this solo down note for note. But before we do, as I always say, please do consider hitting like and subscribe, as it will really help to grow this channel. And if you want to pick up my free blues rock phrasing course, the link is in the description below. It's 100% free, and there's lots of really cool ideas and licks and phrases that you can incorporate into your own playing. So this song was recorded in 1970, and it's worth noting that Paul Kossoff was 19 at the time of recording. I mean, I think he was 25 when he died. He died very, very young. Andy Fraser, the bass player, was, I think, probably 17, not even 18 yet. So they were a very, very young band. And Paul Kossoff was known for his phrasing and his vibrato was very, very mature, very bluesy, very, very difficult to, I'll stop saying very difficult to emulate, in fact, because it's a fast vibrato, but it's not that kind of really unconfident, shaky, kind of wasp trapped in a sock vibrato that we all go through in the early stages of our playing. It's really kind of strident and bold, and I gave up trying to emulate this. I think just naturally playing through this solo, I think my vibrato I did use a kind of faster vibrato than I normally would, but when you kind of put the two solos side by side, if it's possible to do that, you'll hear that our vibratos are completely different. But considering Paul Kossoff was only 19, he had a very, very established vibrato. A lot of 19-year-olds these days, their version of vibrato is rocking the neck back and forth like they've got a mongoose in a headlock or something, just because it looks more difficult on Instagram. I think you'll find it's called neo soul, you boomer. Sorry, that was a joke. Obviously, there are lots of young guitarists out there with great vibrato, but I think we can learn from players like Paul Kossoff, whose vibrato is very kind of unique, and we can kind of incorporate some of that into our own playing. So we go straight in with a very kind of simple lick. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. So a lot of kind of linear sliding on one string. This is all in the A major pentatonic scale. I've got some compressor on there. I'll just take that off. That's better. So we go from an open G to the second fret, and then slide up to 4, and then that's 2, slide to 4, pick 4 again, slide down to 2. Listen to the original for the exact note placement, but we got 3, 4, and. And then a similar lick again, so it's 2, slide to 4, pick 4, slide to 2. All on the G string. The next lick, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we slide in probably from the 3rd fret. It's kind of an indiscriminate slide, but I'm sliding from a couple of frets below the note. We slide into 5 on the B. This is all on the B string. Now he picks up the open E string. I'm not sure if that's by design, or it probably is by design, but it's very, very subtle. This is the other thing to consider, that he's not really kind of laying in with a pick. He's kind of backing off. It's almost kind of apologetic, but it's a great use of dynamics. When you're playing this solo, you hear a lot of people play this and they've got full-on distortion, and you know, this is just an overdriven amp, probably a Plexi, Marshall Plexi round about that time, with the volume, you know, on about halfway. You don't want tons of gain. You can back off on the on your guitar's volume a little bit, as I did on the in the playthrough, and you know, just get a bit more kind of air, I guess, into the sound. But yeah, so you know, it's all the sustain is in the fingers, or most of the sustain is in the fingers, not in the no distortion, you know. So we've got this. So we slide. This is all on the B string. Slide into 5. I'm sliding from the 3rd fret, but it's an indiscriminate slide. So we go. So into 5th fret, and then. So he catches the high E string. You slide up to 7 on the B, but as he's doing it, he catches. You can hear the high E string ringing out. And then we go 7 back down to 5, and just let that E string ring out a little bit. You only have to kind of clip it, but and then. Yeah, same lick again. The placement is slightly different. You know, again, it's like that kind of push and pull. There are some notes that are slightly behind the beat, some notes that are slightly ahead of the beat. So those are the opening couple of phrases. We've got 3, 4, and 3, 4. Second time I didn't slide into that E note, and then we've got a lick, very major pentatonic, almost kind of like a country southern rock thing. So we slide on the G string, we slide 2 into 4, hit 5 on the high E, and then. You want to bend 4, you want to aim for a whole step, release it, and then down to 2 on the G. So this is all on the G, apart from this note, it's on the high E, the rest of it's on the G. So as I say, you aim for a whole step, but he kind of slightly underbends that. Not so much like a minor third, but you'll hear it. I mean, nothing bad's going to happen if you overbend that string, if you bend it up a whole step. 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We slide up. I'm using the 2nd finger because it's going to set us up for the next lick. You slide up to 10 on the B string. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You kind of hold that for over 2 bars. And that's a great use of space. You know, you've got to really kind of let your fingers work. Then we have this lick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So, great lick. It's a 3-note lick, but it's a 16th note fill. So it kind of syncopates, it kind of wraps around itself. Classic rock lick. This is all A major pentatonic. So what we do, you keep your 2nd finger on the 10th fret on the B string. You want to set your 1st finger up on the 9th fret on the G. You can leave that anchored. And hammer with your 3rd finger to 11 on the G. And you just cycle it. With the 1st note, I'm playing an upstroke, and then on the B string, I'm playing a downstroke. Just because it's got that outside pick in. You can start with downstroke. Find that a little bit awkward, but. And then we bend 12 on the B string. We bend that up a whole step. Give it some vibrato. Vibrato. I need electrocution lessons. I can't say vibrato. Oh, I said it. Right, so the next lick is a kind of repetition thing where Slightly different phrasing. We're actually starting on this E note here on the 9th fret on the G, and we're going. So it's 9 hammer to 11 on the G, and then 10 on the B, and then that cycles. So we'll do it 4 times. And then that bend again on the 12th fret, bend up a whole step on the B. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have. So what that is, you're bending 12 on the B string, up a whole step, release it. You don't want to hear the descent too much. Well, you hear it a little bit, sorry. Ignore me. And then 10 on the B, 11 on the G, back to 10 on the B, and give that some vib. I'm saying vib because I can't say vibrato. And we do that 3 times, but the second and third time, he's catching the open E string very subtly. 3, 4. I've seen some people play this, where they fret this E note on the 12th fret on the high E string, which is a more kind of common sort of compound bend, but on closer inspection, it's an open string. Don't do the high. I mean, I'm doing hybrid picking sometimes just because that's in my playing, but I don't think he did hybrid picking in this solo, at least. So we've got 3, 4. So it'll be 3 times. Now, the next section is when we move into the A minor pentatonic scale. We move all the way up to position 1 around the 17th and 19th frets. So we've got this 3, 4, and another classic lick. It's a similar lick to the one we've got here, down here, but it's minor pentatonic. So the picking's going to be the same. So you want to do this partial bar on the 17th fret on the B and the high E strings. Keep those fingers anchored, and we pick 17 on the B string. We pick 17 hammer to 20, and then 17 on the high E. So do that 4 times. So downstroke, hammer, upstroke. And then you want to bend 20 on the B string, bend that up a whole step. Then we've got. So what that is, that's 17 on the high E, 17 on the B, and then 20 on the high E. Bend it up, release it, and pull off to 17. And then bend 20 on the B. And then 17 high E, bend 20 again on the B. And then a very similar lick. Same thing, except we just precede it with this A note on the high E string on the 17th fret. So we go. So it's that lick 4 times, and then you want to bend 20 up a whole step on the B string and pick it twice, and then so that's 17 high E, 17 B, and then you bend in 20 on the high E string up a whole step, and we're kind of picking it a couple of times. So we're going, picking it 3 times. You're kind of re-scooping it in between just to give it a bit more stuff. And then the 3rd time, you release it and then pull off to 17. So, and then that's 20 high E, and then 20 B, bend up whole step. So it's and then the final lick. We've got 17 on the high E, and then 20 on the B, bend up a whole step, pick it first, bend it up a whole step, release it, and then that's 19 on the B, and then 17, and pick that twice. I've said this before, but I don't think in fret numbers, I think in intervals. I know the fretboard, so I don't think, oh, I'm on fret number 19 or anything like that. So it's quite difficult for me to, I didn't use tab growing up. So that last note is an E note, and we've got an E major chord in the progression, because we're kind of going through this, I mean, the solo's predominantly over Andy Fraser's bass line, and there are some piano chords. So chord-wise, fundamentally, what's going on is A, 2, 3, 4, G, D, A, ding, 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 ding. Those are the underlying chords for the whole solo. Apart from the final chord, which is E major, that gets us back into the verse. So that lends itself to a kind of mixolydian feel or a blues tonality. If you do check out my blues rock phrasing course, this is actually, I mean, this is a shameless plug, but it's actually a good link into mixing major and minor pentatonic scales and when to use them and stuff. I mean, that's what a lot of kind of classic rock players do. So, that will explain why you can use A major pentatonic and you can use A minor pentatonic and a mixture of both, because it's kind of that kind of mixolydian blues tonality. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. There's a lot to get into there, I think. I think it's a really, really useful solo to learn. And it's really good to get some of these licks into your vocabulary and being able to blend the major and the minor pentatonic scales. I've always wondered how you smile from your head to your feet, though. You must have a really big jaw in order to... Anyway, I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, everyone. Take care. Bye. No, you hang up. You hang up. No, you hang up. Bye. You hang up.